Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. This is Veronica of Hijacking Holistics, Lady V. Thank you, supporters, subscribers, and Patreons. Please share these videos with those who you think it might resonate with. If you're interested in any of my services, books, merch, t-shirts, webinars, sessions, and higher realm magic information and meditations, please visit higherrealmholistics.com. Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. This is Lady V, Veronica, Higher Realm Holistics. What's up? We got the victory. Wanted to make this video to cover the whole bastardization of the divine masculine, divine feminine energies, how the dark ones are trying to co-opt the rise of the divine feminine and the balancing of the divine feminine, divine masculine within us and within the earth itself to bring that equality into this world so we could all rise together. Okay. And we all know as light workers, even if you're not a light worker, it doesn't matter. As an ascending person, as an ascending soul, as an awakened soul, that is extremely important to balance the divine masculine, divine feminine within us. So our Kundalini may rise, okay, to ignite equally both hemispheres of our brains, left and right. Because yes, biology matters, okay? And it counts. And there is a left and a right hemisphere. It does correspond to the masculine and feminine. And you know what? Facts don't care about your damn feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings, okay? And neither do I in this instance. I really don't. So if you get offended in any way, clutch your pearls all you want. Don't watch the video, okay? Because I'm not budging on this. Besides the spiritual ramifications going on, the spiritual crisis and the mental crisis this confusion is causing, flat out because the majority of my adult life I spent in the medical field, okay? I don't know why I keep saying dropping the frame. The majority of my life is spent in the medical field. Let me close this. Maybe that might help. Okay. And biology is biology, okay? Biology is biology. And I will not drink the Kool-Aid nor pull it in my hair, okay? So let's get to this. What the divine feminine really is all about. Let me make sure I do this right so I won't mess up. Okay. Now, I spoke about the Billy D thing in the video I just made, right? I did change my shirt and my hair so it could look different. And they are what the cabal, the dark ones, are doing right now is that they're doing everything they can to break down what we see, what is traditionally seen as masculine, feminine. Now, I'm one to say, I've always said that, I'm a tomboy, always have been. As a tween and a teen, I always used to say I was asexual. But there's always something behind that. Why is that child saying that and feeling that way? There is something deeper. And straight up, the reason why I felt that way and was presenting myself in the world that way, I wore a tie. I wore a tie all the time. It was pastel. And I always had matching pants to go with my pastel tie and an Oxford white shirt. That was my uniform for like 3 years of my life. The reason why I presented myself that way and said those things about myself is because I do not want to be like the women in my family who I found to be weak, who behind the scenes were extremely intelligent women like my mom. I remember I was in the 4th grade when my mom was graduating from nursing school and she was 3rd in her class. It blew my mind because my mom always played stupid, especially around men. And I remember sitting there, my older sister was 3 years older than me, and we both looked at each other when my mom went up to get an award, and we're like, Mom smart? That's exactly, we looked at each other at the same time and said, Mom smart? And we're like, what? And then you had the men in my family who, if they weren't cheaters, they were wife beaters, or they were wife beaters and cheaters. So it's like, that was my example growing up, seeing men. And even with my BFF, her dad, very strong, staunch. He didn't beat on the wife, but he sure beat on the kids, very angry, and I was like, ugh, I never wanted to get married. Now I do, but I have been actually. When I was a teenager, I was 19 when I got married and divorced. Divorced 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But I never wanted to get married. I tried running away during my wedding. My mom's cousin caught me in the parking lot and dragged my ass back. Okay. So I never wanted to be part of those norms. But are there traditional roles that fall in line with our biology? Yes, very much so. Very, very, very much so. Okay. And biology couldn't care less about your damn feelings, really. The number one thing I like to say when they try to push the whole biology thing is this, I'm not a girl or a boy. Where do I pee? Seriously, where do you pee? Where do you pee? And we all know in a lot of schools now, especially in Chicago in the US, they've done this overseas in Canada and California already. Now it's in Chicago, where the gender neutral bathrooms, locker rooms, which is even crazy, gender neutral locker rooms for kids. Now, rarely do you're not going to find a girl going to the boys' locker room. However, gender fluid, whatever it is you want to, which is nonsense. Gender fluid doesn't exist. You don't see them going in there, but you'll find the boys come into the girls' locker rooms. And especially when you're in the tween and teen stage, girls and boys are extremely awkward about their bodies. They want to be private about their bodies. And having a private stall for those trans, they're not. Some really are, but very, very, it's extremely rare, okay? Less than 1% of the population. Those trans kids those confused children, it's unconstitutional, they say, to force them to, because separate and equal is not really equal. They don't want them to change in boys' locker rooms. Okay, and somehow this is supposed to be empowering people, but in the empowerment, it's actually the breakdown and the bastardization of the divine masculine, feminine, rising energies. Now let's get to this, okay? We're going to start with Billy D. Why Billy D would come out now with this whole gender fluid garbage, okay? Number one, the new Star Wars film is failing miserably, horribly. So why not take someone who a lot of people look up to as an idol and throw him out there to stir up stuff about Star Wars and to bring stuff into the light and to try to bring more. It's nothing more than propaganda, bullshit propaganda, and bringing people to the box office. And he's part of Hollywood, whether or not he feels this way, he's coming out as part of Hollywood. All right. So whatever, that garbage. Now, yeah, this is very important. This is the true rise of the divine masculine and feminine. Okay, the pranas down here, the Kundalini energy, and the blue is representing the Ida, and I'm going to butcher these words. I'm horrible at pronouncing words. The Ida represents the divine feminine, and the Pingala is the divine masculine. And both of these must rise equally in us, okay? To have a balanced divine masculine and feminine. And it leads to, balance of the divine feminine and divine masculine is obtained, as well as higher states of consciousness and awareness within the individual. This is the true balancing of the divine masculine and feminine, whether you are a biological male or biological female. In order for you to rise and reach your heights of spiritual awareness and ascension, this must happen. And by the way, I do have a webinar on balancing the divine feminine and masculine energies, available at higherrealmholistics.com. We did that a while ago. And of course, you could do it anytime you want. This is what true ascension is. Look at this. Read this. Think about it. This is it. This is what the true balancing looks like within us. When Hollywood, because they're the ones who attack everyone culturally, that's what they're using. That's what the deep state, cabal, whatever, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, same crap, is using to brainwash the collective. Remember, it's all superficial with them. This is what they idolize. This is the Baphomet. This is the bastardization of this. Do you see that? And it all has to do with sexuality and not sexuality as in divine masculine, divine feminine. It has sexuality as in just sex, as in harvesting the sexual energy in a very perverted way. Okay, so remember, this is the true awakening of the divine feminine and masculine energy, the true balancing of the divine feminine and masculine energy. And this is the 3D inversion of it. Remember, 3D is the inversion, it's the mirror. Okay, which is why, let's close this because we already saw it. And this is what it comes out to. This is what they're trying to say is the empowerment and the balancing of the divine masculine feminine energy. Abominations. This is what they're trying to pass off. We'll hit that later. The whole gender fluid equals gender confusion. Was I confused with my gender? With my sex as a female when I said I was asexual? No, not at all. It is about feeling. And feelings change. Feelings are malleable. Feelings are easily manipulated. All right? Easily manipulated, whereas this is not easily manipulated. This is coming into true balance. But feelings are easily, I could wake up today and feel like a boy. I could wake up today and feel like a girl. That is not true gender. That is not true gender. Your gender is very connected to what your sexuality, it is what your sex, what you were born with. Are there hermaphrodites? Yeah, there are true hermaphrodites. I've seen them. I've assisted in giving birth to them in labor and delivery. I've cared for them in nursery. Okay? I even have one as a friend, a true hermaphrodite. But even though they're true hermaphrodite with two of the sexual organs, they still have X and Y chromosome, XX, XY. Sometimes there's two X's and a Y. Okay? I've never seen two Y's and an X, but I've seen two X's and a Y or three X's and a Y. And sometimes they do present as, they will have like, for instance, a very small penis, but full female genitalia. They're always sterile. They cannot give birth. They cannot get pregnant. They cannot impregnate because one sexual organ is not truly developed. It is a birth defect. They're taking a birth defect, taking it out of the true science and biology of it and putting it into feelings. They're taking something factual and making it into something that's easily manipulated. Easily manipulated, because when you're confused like this, you can never get a sense of your true self, your true identity, right? Easily manipulated. Here we go. Gender fluid. It's all about sexuality, isn't it? Sex. Bastardization. That's what it's supposed to be about. Even that, look at this. This is actually, I forgot where they just put this out. This is supposed to be gender fluid Santa. And this is what they're selling to children. Okay, this is what they're selling to children. This is straight off of some LGBTQ thing, right? Their full list of genders. This is what they want you to buy into. Okay. In a world where postmodernism is taking a stronghold in modern society and the gravity of positive science is rapidly subsiding, especially biology. One of the things that have been affected is gender identification. The term LGBTQ plus has taken a firm rooting in our language, not my language, because I'm not crazy. Here's a list of genders so far that you will not get, so you won't get caught off guard. Okay, I'm not crazy. So therefore, I'm not going to use your crazy words that are nonsensical. Okay? You have lesbian, gay, bisexual. Okay, we all know what a lesbian is, right? We all know what a gay guy is. We all know what a bisexual is. Then you have transgender. Okay, transsexual, two-spirited. What the fuck is that? Two-spirited is a modern umbrella term used by some indigenous North Americans to describe gender variant individuals in their communities, specifically people with indigenous communities where such who are seen as having both male and female spirits within them. This list is actually the list that was adopted by New York City that's being enforced, that if you misgender someone, you can get fined $250,000 for it, by the way. Yeah, by the way. You have transsexual, two-spirited, queer, questioning. This is supposed to be a gender. This is supposed to be a gender. And remember what true gender is. Divine feminine, divine masculine energy coming into balance within you. Now, when you have, we'll deal with that garbage later. When you have all this nonsense going on, and this is just the LGBTQ lobby, because they're all lobby group, lobbyist approved, stamped approved. I think Facebook has 35 genders to choose from, and there's like supposedly now over 1,000 genders, where it could be unicorn gender and alien gender. That's what I'm saying. The bastardization. It's this. It's this. Questioning intersex. That's something I've been hearing a lot of, which is actually, intersex is a variation of sexual characteristics, including chromosomes, gonads, genitals, that do not allow an individual to be distinctly identified as male or female. No matter what, when it comes to and intersexual is a play that they're using for medical, for hermaphrodite. Intersexual is actually a hermaphrodite, which is extremely rare, less a percentage, like 0.2%, very low percentage of true hermaphrodites. Very asexual. This is what I used to say to myself. Asexual is a lack of sexual attraction to anyone, a low or absent interest in sexual activity, which quite frankly, good. Since I was a tween and a young teenager, it may be considered a lack of sexual orientation and asexuality. Guess what? Something's up. Something's up when you're asexual. Something's not quite right. There's something else going on. And again, I'm speaking this from a professional point of view, from somebody who went through that for many years as a youngster, and for somebody who counseled kids. Remember, I worked in an adolescent lockdown facility. My first degree is in adolescent psych, abnormal adolescent psych. I was a group therapist. Ally, how is ally a gender? I don't know. An ally is a person who considers themselves a friend of the LGBTQ plus community. How's that a gender? Do you see what I'm talking about? And I have many gay friends and even a trans, but I refuse to use that word. I refuse to. Pansexual or omnisexual, and it's all about, who you want to F. I mean, basically, it's agender people who are also called genderless or gender free, non-gender. There's no such thing. There is no such goddamn thing. It's called mental illness, spiritual crisis, mental illness. Gender queer, mental illness. Bigender, mental illness. Gender variant, mental illness. Transgender, mental illness. They're trying to normalize mental illness. And quite frankly, it was a sort of a mental illness when I was claiming I was asexual, because I was angry. I was angry at the men in my family, and I was angry at the women in my family. So I didn't want to identify as either one of them. Again, what would have happened to me now in these days? Really? They'd have tried to give me hormones or hormone blockers, and they're trying to sell hormone blockers as not being harmful. Hormone blockers are harmful. They cause osteoporosis in boys, and they cause a lot of problems in girls. A lot. I made other videos. You can go to Saving Gen Z. That is my other channel. And please go to BitChute too. That is Saving Gen Z. Because I don't know if my channel is going to be around much longer. I doubt it, because I cover very controversial topics. And I've had videos made private that I did not make private, and I have to go check to see what's going on with the videos, so I won't get hit with some crazy fine. So, yeah, this is called mental illness. This is called mental illness. It is. And people who are truly trans, real trans people, 9 times out of 10, they went through something, some type of abuse that caused their confusion in the first place. Okay? And they have a lot of comorbidities, mental comorbidities that go along. It's not just trans. It really is not. And I'm talking from a professional medical point of view, not just talking out my ass. Okay? Not. Oh yeah, again, here's the New York City, so you guys could know this 31 genders. New York City, okay? 31 flavors. I'm telling you, somebody sat there and thought 31 flavors like Ben and Jerry's and came up with 31 genders. Okay, these are the 31 genders. Bi-gendered, cross-dresser. I thought cross-dresser was supposed to be a derogatory term. That's what I heard. How is drag queen a gender? I was a drag mom. I put one of my really good friends, may he rest in peace, into drag for the first time in my clothes. We won 3rd place in the competition, Miss 2000, Miss Millennium, Long Island. Drag king, femme queer, femme to male, FTM. Somehow that's different from FTM. Gender bender, pangender. Again, the inversion. Ugh. The inversion from this. This is the inversion. Okay? And this is the true. Enough of that garbage. Again, it's all superficial. It's all superficial. This is Holly weird. They have to attack you from, culture. It's culture. Culture rules over everything. So they take those who people look up to. And this is what they're putting in the schools. I already covered this again at Saving Gen Z. Parental involvement dependent on students' permission. Again, the state, the government is interceding and going in where the parents are supposed to be to separate the children, to brainwash them, to push their propaganda on them, their confusion on them, their inversion of the true divine masculine and feminine. Students can choose their bathrooms and changing facilities. Again, you could wake up one day, the other, and I'll show you the results of this gender confusion, forcing it and allowing it, making a space for it. CMS will remove some gender-based activities. Students can choose their gender-based activities. Students can no longer be referred to as girls and boys in classrooms. For real, they stopped the girls and boys. My BFF teacher in New York City, been a teacher for over 25 years, why am I saying over 25 years? Not old enough, like 20 years. Yeah, you can't use girls and boys, and it's a big deal with the pronouns. And she said kids will come in 1 week this boy, next week girl, and you can't even tell. You have to tell according to their clothes. Sometimes you can't even, and then they go complain and you get a write-up. They tried that with me in the hospital. Believe me, I took it up so hard with the freaking manager and assistant manager in ICU that the manager walked out, said she was going to the bathroom, and never came back. And then the assistant manager, who happens to be a gay male, I said, is she coming back? No, I don't think so. And he looked, he texted her. She texted him. See how confusing it is? She texted him. And yeah, she said, I'm not coming back. Because that's how much I was like, F you. Here are the facts. I don't give a damn about your feelings or anybody else's feelings because these are facts. Okay? There was a gender queer, whatever you want to call it, gender fluid boy who just came from surgery, and I was, hooking him up and stuff like that. And he got upset. Some other nurse referred to him as a he. And I referred to him as his name. I was like, I'm not going to get caught up in this shit. I'll just use his damn name. And then my boss called us out, and the director of the department, I should say, was the director and the manager. The director is the one who left because I lit into her. And she's like, oh no, you have to use the pronouns also because you're making her uncomfortable. I said, but it's a boy. I said, okay, so then I'm going to go give him a pregnancy test. That's the whole thing. This is the nonsense. And they also trying to say, sex, your biological sex does not matter because you're so intersexual. It's never one or the other, Okay, do I check your prostate or not? Do I freaking give you a pregnancy test before taking you off to surgery or an x-ray or not? That's all I give a shit about. How may I insert your Foley? Which Foley shall I use for you? That's all I give a damn about, okay? If you got a problem with that, if you're going to start crying like he did, oh my God, yeah, I don't care. And that's exactly what I said to his mother, who was feeding into that garbage. I said, ma'am, would you like me to give your son a pregnancy test? Because I will right now, no problem, but you will get the bill because it's not medically necessary. What do you mean? I said, no, we're gender fluid. So he feels like a girl right now. Let me give him a pregnancy test. I'm not putting up with this nonsense. I had enough of it. Okay, talk about messed up. This, I don't know which is which of these things. Okay, all I know, I think this is supposed to be the dad who's the mom now, and this is the male who's the female now, and the female who's the male, and of course their children are transgender. Come on now. Mental illness. Not only that, they I don't know. Maybe they'll have a sudden awakening. I don't know. Maybe 2020 will be enough to shock them. Who knows? Terrific. Ugh. Again, look at this. This is on top of a building in the middle of a town. Talking about gender fluid Santa. You're telling me it's not all about sexualization of children and the perversion. Everything's a perversion. Yeah. And we're going to talk about empowerment of women. This is how they're taking down the divine feminine, because the divine feminine is the energy that's supposed to rise up right now, right? To meet the feminine energy of the planet is what's supposed to rise up right now to meet the masculine energy, right? And to come into balance. So this is like the suffrage movement, women fighting for actual rights, the right to actually be paid, the actual right to vote, equality. This is not about equality. How is this? This is third wave feminism. Men are toxic. That's what that stupid sign says. And there's other signs says men are garbage. It was a lot of other disparaging stuff. So I chose the best I could. How is this empowering? This is supposed to somehow empower women, empower the divine feminine to rise. This is disempowering. Another one, proud slut. Sluts say yes. How is this empowering? It is disempowering. Do you see how it's a complete inversion? And it's this thing. This is supposed to be empowering. No, this is unhealthy. Her health is none of my business. Sure it is. When her chunky behind, her obese behind ends up in a bed where I'm working in ICU and it takes 6 people to move her, yeah, it's my business. Okay? This is supposed to be somehow empowering. Do you see what they're pushing? This is death on a stick. This is death walking, if you can walk at that point. I've seen her try to move. She can barely stand. How is this healthy? How is that empowering? No one's telling you to hate yourself, but this is self-hatred to me. This is not respecting your body. This is disrespecting your body. Making, again, inversion. Good, bad, bad, good. First it was heroin chic. Those were my modeling days back in the early 90s, mid 90s, the 90s. That's when I was modeling. And when heroin chic came around, my modeling agency, especially if you were assigned, I was a assigned model, was no joke. Get weighed every single week. Doesn't matter if you got your period and blow up 5 to 8 pounds, whatever. Starve. Was told to do coke to lose weight for fitting, and girls did it. Was told to shoot heroin. I'd be sitting there in a limo and there'd be another model next to me shooting up and nodding out. I mean, for real. This is for real. I mean, you go from that to this. Okay. And this is the result of all this gender confusion. This is the result of the gender confusion. This is basketball team. This is a trans. Here's the thing with these trans athletes. None of them, this person, none of them are transitioning. I should have pulled up the interview, but I didn't want to get dinged. This one just gave an interview. The cyclist gave an interview, and so did this one in the rugby team. Imagine this coming at you as a woman. Jesus Christ. They straight up said that they're not going to transition. They're not going to take hormones. They're not chopping off their penises. They're not getting breast implants. All they have to do is put on some nail polish and a ponytail and some lipstick and say, I feel like a girl today, so I'm going to go and I'm going to break some female skulls, some biological women's skulls, and win scholarships. This was heartbreaking because, like I said, I was a runner when I was younger. First, second, third place, all taken by these transgender students in the track team, the women's track. Okay? And guess who got the scholarships? Not the biological women that the original empowerment thing of women was done. Feminism was done. The feminist movement was done. So you could, as a biological female, compete on a level playing field. Okay? No. Now you have guys putting in braids, putting on makeup, polishing their nails, and saying, I feel like a girl, therefore I'm going to go crack your skull in female sports. And if you don't like it, you're a bigot and you're going to get censored and you're going to get this and you're going to be blah, blah, blah. But again, the pendulum is starting to swing the other way. It is starting to swing in the other direction. That's why you have to take heart. The true rise of the divine masculine and feminine will happen. Okay? Because enough of this. The pendulum is going to start swinging the other way. It's reaching its fever pitch. This is fever pitch, y'all. This is fever pitch. This is fever freaking pitch. All right? Yeah. So that was a lot. That was a lot. Okay. So yeah, the true empowerment, so the true divine feminine energy can rise within all of us. Doesn't matter if you're an XY, doesn't matter if you're a biological male, your divine feminine energy still must rise. You see how they tried one thing, it didn't work, so now they're trying something different. First they tried, because I was looking at this video, it was so interesting, of the 50s, how it was in the 50s when, the roles were really separated, and it was terrible. Dad went to work and dad was this and that, and sons were this and that, and the women were their little skirts and blah 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 blah, looking like this. And you could not deviate out of that. There was nothing to complete bedlam, to complete. They went from one extreme to another extreme, and it's the extremes that are driving people crazy. It's extremes that are confusing people. Do you notice how they control the pendulum swing? They, as in the cabal, the 4D masters of 3D. See how the 4D masters of 3D controlled the pendulum swing. They took it all the way to one end where it was so restrictive that the only way to go, remember, as far to the negative, it flows to the positive. As far as it was with the restriction, and the peak of that restriction of the masculine and feminine reached like the 50s. The 60s saw that pendulum swing starting to swing this way. And now it's to where it's 101 flavors of gender. Everyone is confused. Everything's just messed up. Do you see? That is the negative 4D. The negative 4D is ruled over 3D. But now we're breaking through that. We've reached the 100th monkey effect, where we're breaking into the positive 4D. In 2020, things are getting, us light workers, we already broke into that positive 4D, 5D, 5, right? And now with the exposure of what's going on in the material realm to the normies, first it's the truthers. They've been seeing it for a long time, but they've only been seeing one end of the awakening. But now they're starting to experience the spiritual end of the awakening, which is what's getting them those really bad attacks now, what we've already had to deal with as light workers. When you're at a certain level of light workership, depending on what you're doing. There's plenty of light workers who didn't have to go through any of that shit. Unfortunately, I have. So it's swinging. It's the higher rules the lower. And now that we are in control as the higher 4D, 5D, and higher beings, we're taking that pendulum swing to the other way. Like, here's the restriction of the negative for how they restricted all the genders, separating them. And now it swung all the way over to complete gender confusion, right? Then the total inversion of the true balancing of divine masculine and feminine energies. Now we're going to take it from that point, and that's a low end, and we're going to boost it up and control it by controlling it and swinging it over to the higher side where it's the true manifestation. It's the true manifestation of the balance of the divine masculine and feminine energies within the Kundalini of the earth and within our individual Kundalinis of everyone who survives and, who's ready and makes it to the new earth, where this nonsense confusion will be no more. Alrighty then. Hope that wasn't too much. All right. Lady V out. Talk to you guys later. All right.